There are two spice blends that I use all the time. Number one is taco seasoning, because who doesn't use taco seasoning all the time? And number two is garam masala. We use garam masala all the time because my husband loves Indian dishes. In fact, his dream world would be that I would perfect the art of Indian cooking, which I clearly have not quite done yet, but I have done a very simple, easy mom version that he still enjoys. And at the center of all of my Indian dishes is usually garam masala. If you don't have garam masala at home, you can easily make it by mixing coriander, black pepper, cumin, cardamom, and cinnamon. When you're buying it, make sure you look closely at the ingredients. Some are going to be more spicy than others. So let's start. Here are 3 of my go-to Indian dishes that, yes, use garam masala. Let's first make my go-to lentil dal. This recipe calls for red lentils, but dal is just the name for split legumes. So you can also use split yellow peas instead. Now, if you're going to cook this in the Instant Pot, I would suggest using split yellow peas because they handle better in the Instant Pot, where red lentils are so yummy, but will turn into mush when you cook them in the Instant Pot. So we're gonna cook this over the stove. You will start by water sauteing 2 onions and 4 cloves of garlic. While that's sauteing, I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of minced ginger. Next, we'll add 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of paprika. This one's smoked, but any type of paprika works. 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and 1 teaspoon of garam masala. Oh my goodness, these spices are amazing. Look at that. We'll mix all that together, let it cook for a second, and then we'll add in our veggie broth. I'm gonna deglaze the pan with a little bit of water. Oh, smells heavenly here. Next, we'll add 2 cups of red lentils. If you can wash these, great. I actually need to buy a fine strainer. I don't have a good strainer right now, but ideally you would wash your lentils. So it's 2 cups lentils, 4 cups of veggie broth. And I'm just using 4 cups water with 4 teaspoons of the Better Than bouillon. Next, you'll add some petite diced tomatoes. You can also just place, chopped tomatoes in there too. I like the flavor of canned tomatoes. And to curb some of that acidity, we'll add just 2 teaspoons of coconut sugar, or any type of sugar that you have on hand. Coconut sugar is really light. It's not super sweet. It just gives enough sweetness to bring out the flavors. You'll turn down the heat and let this simmer for about 8 to 10 minutes covered. Okay, it has been about 8 minutes and the lentils are all cooked through, and it's time to turn that heat down super low and finish it off with a cup of coconut milk. Now, this is coconut milk from a can, but if you want to keep it lower fat, you can actually use unsweetened coconut milk in a box. You could even use any type of plant milk you like, but this coconut milk from a can is going to make it really creamy. It's up to you. It's up to you. It just depends on your goals. My kids love this dish, and children need more fat than adults. So if your goal is to lose weight, then maybe a lower fat coconut milk option. If this is to feed your kids, use the canned coconut milk. We'll let that simmer for about a minute and then it's ready to serve. Yum. All right, we will finish it off with some salt and pepper to taste. I'm just gonna add a little bit more salt. And you definitely don't wanna skip out on the pepper. Because it has turmeric in there, your body will be able to absorb all of the benefits from the turmeric as long as it's paired with pepper. So make sure you add in some black pepper. To serve, you'll garnish it with juice of half of a lemon or lime and some cilantro or parsley. This recipe is such a favorite of our family. I actually normally double the recipe for my family of 8, and everyone loves it. And you will serve this over rice. If you thought making that lentil dal was easy, wait till you try this Chana Masala recipe. Super fast and just as delicious. This recipe is super similar to the last one, but there's just a couple tweaks and different spices to change the flavor profile. We will add 1 large onion to a pan, and then we'll water saute that with our garlic and ginger. I want to make this as quick as possible. I'm trying out this dehydrated garlic. I'm a fan. I like it. We're gonna add 6 cloves of garlic, then 2 tablespoons of grated ginger. So I'm just gonna hang out here for a while we do that. The outer part of the ginger is edible. You can peel it if you want, but it's not necessary. Again, we're going for time saving, super easy. Mama has kids to feed, so let's hurry it up. All right, that's about 2 tablespoons. Next up, we'll add 1 tablespoon of ground cumin, then 1 tablespoon of ground coriander. Similar seasonings as the recipe before, but you see it's a lot more. 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric, and 1 teaspoon of chili powder. I am not adding any more spice than this. This is the only spice. Other people will make this recipe with serrano peppers, not me. I want my kids to actually eat this. It can't be too spicy. I need to add a little bit more water to deglaze the pan so it doesn't burn. Oh no! The dangers of cooking with spices. I had to change my shirt. I should have known better. You have been warned. Turmeric stains. I'm gonna have to bleach it. The dangers of cooking. This is why I don't wear expensive clothes. Now the final most important spice we wanna add is 1 tablespoon of garam masala. Now the base of chana masala is actually pureed tomatoes. So we'll take a 28-ounce can, we'll place, you can totally just put this in your blender if you want. Otherwise, I'm just gonna puree it right here to save me some time. It's super easy with my immersion blender. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can also just buy crushed tomatoes, but I didn't have any on hand. Even petite diced tomatoes work here too. So let's add this to our, I'm gonna stand back so I don't get any more stains. Then the star ingredient is the chickpeas. This is about 2 14-ounce cans of chickpeas. I actually previously cooked my chickpeas in my Instant Pot because I think when you cook them from dry, they're so much more delicious. They really have the texture of butter. It's so good. But any way you like it is fine. And then we'll add salt to finish this off and let it simmer. This is about 3/4 to 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm adding a little more because I did not use canned chickpeas. I used ones that I made on my own, and they need a little more salt for flavor. All right, let's let this simmer for just a couple minutes. Okay, it's time to garnish this with 1 cup of coconut milk. Again, same thing as before. You're welcome to use any other type of plant milk or coconut milk from the carton instead of from the can. Something that distinguishes chana masala from other dishes is that it has a lot of cilantro. So anywhere between 1/2 cup to 1 cup of chopped cilantro. You'll add salt, pepper. Don't skip out on the pepper for the same reasons as before. You want to be able to absorb all of the benefits of that turmeric, and you need black pepper in order to do that. I'm gonna add just a little bit more coconut sugar and a little bit more salt. This ended up being a large bowl. And last up, for our easy mom Indian dishes, we're going to make a vegan Palak Peneer. Now, traditionally, Palak Peneer is made with a soft cheese and a spinach sauce. We're going to keep the spinach sauce and use cashews instead of cream, and we'll use tofu instead of soft cheese. It's amazing how much tofu tastes just like the soft cheese, because it doesn't have a ton of flavor anyway. It's gonna be delicious and super simple. Let me show you how to make it. First of all, you can totally use fresh spinach, but why when you can use frozen spinach and it's so much easier? So we'll just defraw this frozen spinach and boil the tofu to get started. This is a 16-ounce bag of frozen spinach, and we'll just add it to our microwave to dethaw. We'll take our tofu and cube it just like that Palak Peneer, like the soft cheese that you're used to seeing. Then we'll add our tofu to a pot of boiling water for about 2 minutes. Woo, hot. Be careful. While the tofu and spinach are cooking, you'll chop your onion. Then you'll want to just roughly chop about 1.5 inches of ginger to add to our blender. Next, we'll add our de-thawed bag of spinach. Then we'll add 1/2 cup of raw cashews, 1.5 cups of water, 1.5 inches of ginger, a can of diced tomatoes, a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I'm just gonna use my dehydrated garlic here, about 3 cloves. Add about a teaspoon of salt. Next to the blender, you'll add 2 cups of veggie broth. But as you know, I always do 2 cups water and then 2 teaspoons of this veggie bouillon paste. Okay, now let's blend it up. Whoa, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. Stop, stop, oh no. Don't mind me just cleaning off the ceiling. I sacrifice for YouTube. Take the tofu off. I ended up cooking it a little bit longer than 2 minutes. It was closer to 10, it's fine. All right, to that pan, we will water saute an onion. It's about a medium onion. It's the same pan I used to cook the tofu to make cleanup easier. Then we will add 1 teaspoon of cumin, 4 cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of coriander. Mix things around a little bit. 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 full teaspoon of garam masala, and then about a half a teaspoon of salt. We'll mix all of this together until the onions are translucent, and then we'll add the spinach sauce and the tofu, and that's it. Super, super simple. Okay, let's turn that heat down on medium, and we will add in our spinach sauce. Whoa. This dish is incredibly healthy for you. We're not using any oil. We're using cashews instead of cream. It's a ton of spinach. And then you have tofu for the protein. It's so good for you. We'll let that marinate for a second together. And last but not least, we'll throw in that tofu. And there you have it. So you've already put a teaspoon of garam masala in when we were cooking, but now we add another teaspoon afterwards, very last, just to add that last little bit of flavor, and we'll mix that in here. If you also have fenugreek leaves, then you would want to add fenugreek leaves. I do not have them. I don't know where to find them except for online. And so until I buy them online, it will just have to do without. And then you will garnish this recipe with cilantro and lemon, half of a lemon.
Yum, yum.
You love it, huh? Who's excited at Indian food?
This one's yummy.
That one's your favorite. I knew that'd be your favorite. This is gone. They thought this was too spicy, and this is almost gone. They loved it. Hopefully you got 2 important takeaways from this video. Number 1, you need garam masala to make any delicious Indian recipe. And number 2, don't wear a white shirt when you're making Indian recipes, or else it could be stained forever.